lose my shit. And it's a chance to socially advance. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Get it together! Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome back. I'm Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, where we like to read Riley, not take ourselves too seriously, and have some fun with books. So that's where you came. Today we are going to be doing a book haul. Book haul. I have a problem. My name is Elizabeth. I have a problem. I can't stop buying books. That's where we're at. I'm going to spend all of my money buying books. You all might as well benefit from this by having the benefit of learning some new books, some books that you may not know about, that you may be interested in reading. So I am going to share that with you today, okay? So I think I'm gonna start out by telling you guys the Goodreads rating for the books, if I can remember to do it. Then I will kind of give you a synopsis, and then I will tell you some extra facts if I have them. So anyway, this is Paper Girls. It is a graphic novel. I'm trying to discover whether or not I actually like graphic novels. This was suggested by a friend, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's so beautiful. This is by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang. So, oh, and Mathew Wilson is the colorist. Good to know. So this is about 4 12-year-old girls in the late 80s. They are on a paper route, and it begins the night of Halloween, and I think in 1988. They have an adventure, and this is like a series. There's I don't know how many volumes of this there are. This is book 1. And I'll just give you kind of an idea of how gorgeous the art is in here. And the colors, it's just, I mean, it's beautiful. I don't want to give anything away here. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I like graphic novels and comics and such. But here's the thing that I'm struggling with when you're actually reading this, and I want to know from you guys, if when you read graphic novels, do you look at the art first and then go back and read the dialogue? Do you read the dialogue and then look at the art? I'm struggling because my brain, the way my brain works is to just go and read and move the page, but then I feel like I'm missing out on the art. It's like driving an SUV, right? And your brain is just programmed to drive a certain way, and you're comfortable with it, and that's just what you do. And then someone says, all right, now hop on this motorcycle, and you're like, but I don't know how. I'm sure I will enjoy this story, but I'm just kind of getting comfortable with the gears and the switches and, you know, trying to figure out how it works. So let me know how you guys read comics if you're into it, and I'd be interested to know how you do that. So that's this. Paper Girls. Okay, so the next book I want to share with you is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. Look how beautiful this is. Let's just take this in for a second. So this is a novella. It's a series of novellas called the Wayward Children series, I want to say. And I've read Middle Game by Seanan McGuire, and I really liked that. I've heard a lot about this on Kayla's channel at Books and Lala, and I know she loves it, so I decided I was going to check it out. Another reason I picked this up is because I want to start challenging myself to actually sit down and relax with a book. I tend to read audiobooks a lot at work and just throughout the day as I'm doing things because I feel like I'm more productive that way, but I also need to challenge myself to just sit down and relax. So I figure if I read some more novellas, that'll give me a chance to force myself to just sit down and read a book with my eyes, and also it's short enough that I can feel like I have accomplished something and I actually have the time to sit down and read it in one sitting or however long. This is about Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children. So in this series, I guess each book follows a different child. And in my mind, what I've heard about this, like, I pictured small children, but the girl that we're following, this Nancy, I think she's 17. So I guess we're kind of like older children, not like children. These kids disappear into a doorway that can show up anywhere, and it takes them into their own perfect fantasy world that's made specifically for them, and they can stay in there for years, and then at some point they get kicked out and they get returned back to the real world, and they're all trying to find their way back into their perfect fantasy world. But when they come back, no time has passed, and their parents think they're crazy. So some way or another, they find their way to Eleanor West, who has this group home for these children. She tells the parents that, you know, oh, they're very sick and I'm going to make them better. I'm going to help them out. But when she was a child, she had the same experience. So she knows what's actually going on with them. She's gathered them all in one place so that they can feel like they're not crazy and understand what happened to them and maybe try to find a way to get back to their world. I think I've heard Gabby talking about this too at Gabby Reads, so I just decided to finally take the leap and picked this one up. Next, if you don't know, I love Lucy. So I got Lucille Ball's autobiography. To me, Lucille Ball is just iconic. She is amazing. She's everything I could ever want to be. You're everything I could want to be. And I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. So that's Lucy for me. This is a really cool hardcover copy of this. So it's basically the story of her life. But this, okay, so Lucille Ball died in 1989, I believe. This was released in 1997, yet it is called an autobiography. How is that, you say? How is that possible, you say? Well, here's what happened. So after she died, she hadn't, as far as they had known, the rest of her family knew, she hadn't written about her life, and so they were so upset that they didn't have anything in her own words. So as they were kind of going through her things, they found this manuscript. I can't remember the woman's name. So this says it's by Lucille Ball, but it's really an as told by autobiography. During the peak of her career, she had sat down with somebody and told them her story, and that woman recorded it. And when it came time to release the book or write the book, Lucy, for whatever reason, decided it wasn't the right time and I don't want to do this right now. And so she kind of stowed it away in like a safety deposit box or in like the lawyer's office somewhere. And so they just happened upon this. And the audiobook is actually told by her daughter, Lucy Arnaz. She also wrote the foreword to this, and it just kind of tells the story of her life. I'm just so impressed by her. She was so far ahead of her time. She's iconic. What I love most about her is that she's obviously gorgeous, but she is not afraid to be ugly, and she's not afraid to push boundaries. And her comedy, I mean, if you notice in any of my videos how my comedy can be kind of quirky and ridiculous and a little bit over the top sometimes, this is probably why. Because of my love for Lucy, and she inspires me, and I just love her so much. So I'm reading this. I'm actually like, I don't know, maybe like halfway through this right now. I have a problem right now where I have started way too many books, and I just keep flip-flopping around. There's, I don't know if you can see her and Desi. So cool. Anyway, I'm really excited to finish this one, and I'll let y'all know how I feel about it in the wrap up. Such a cool find. I think I got this used, I don't know where. My next book I found in a little library on my route at work, and I'm both excited and terrified to read this because I know it's going to break me. And that is Beloved by Toni Morrison. And it's so cute. Like all of the little books, like whoever had this little book, little library, specifically put Black author and Black story literature in this. And then it has a little tag that says, read in color. Every time you see this sticker, you'll know that you're holding a book that focuses on the experience of a BIPOC or LGBTQ people as part of the Read and Color initiative by Little Free Library. We encourage people of all identities to read, learn, and return so others can do the same. Learn more at littlefreelibrary.org/read and color. How cool is that? So I will put this back when I'm done so that someone else can read it. But there were also other great books in there that I had already read. So I'm excited that that's there for people. I mean, how cool are these little free libraries? They're so cool. This book was written in 1987 by Toni Morrison. It's inspired by a true life incident involving Margaret Garner, who was an escaped slave from Kentucky and fled to the free state of Ohio in 1856, but was captured in accordance with the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. We're following, I don't know how to say this, our protagonist's names. I think it's Setha or Seeth. It's S-E-T-H-E. Setha. I think Setha sounds right for some reason. I don't know why. So she's born a slave. She escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later, she is still not free. She's held captive by memories of her home. Her house has long been troubled by the angry, destructive ghost of her dead baby. Oh my gosh. Who died nameless and whose tombstone is engraved with one word, beloved. Oh my gosh. So apparently she comes in contact with a teenage girl in the present time who calls herself Beloved, and all of these secrets from the past come spilling into the present, and she has to deal with that. So this won the Pulitzer Prize in 1988. It was a finalist in 1987 for the National Book Award. Apparently there's a movie adaptation in 1998 starring Oprah Winfrey, which I had no idea about. So after I read this, I'm definitely going to be checking that out. The major themes within this are mother-daughter relationship. We have psychological effects of slavery. We have the definition of manhood, family relationships, and pain. Just pain. So God, this is going to be heavy. I know it's going to break me, but I'm really excited to actually understand this and to be in a place where I can say I have read this and learn. I'm gonna have to pick a day where I just want to cry when I read this because I'm terrified, but I'm very excited at the same time. This next book, you could say I was persuaded to read it by Katja Weinert, who talked about it in one of her tag videos, which I'll see if I can tag up here.
Up here, one of the sides.
And that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. So I've been wanting for a while to get into more Jane Austen. I love Pride and Prejudice, but I haven't read any of her other books. So when Katja suggested this, I was on board automatically. This is the very last book that was published by Jane Austen at the end of 1817, 6 months after her death. So literally the last thing she wrote. It's accepted as her most maturely written novel, showing a refinement of literary conception indicative of a woman in her 40s or close to her 40s. She died really young, and I looked it up too. Actually, they thought that she had died for a long time of Addison's disease. It is now thought that she died from Hodgkin's lymphoma. The main character in this story is her oldest heroine at the ripe old age of 27. And it basically follows her, what is her name? Anne Elliot. And she was betrothed to a naval officer, Frederick Wentworth. But her friend, Lady Russell, persuades her to break off the engagement with this guy because she says he's not worthy. And so she listens to the people, even though I think she has strong feelings for him. But her friends say that he's not worthy of her, so she breaks it off. And then I think 7 or 8 years later, so he comes back from war as a rich and successful captain. And so now she's dealing with all of this guilt and regret as to like, why didn't I stay with him? Why did I listen to people? And we have commentary about, society and Regency England. She feels like she should have followed her heart, and so we're following her to see if she gets back together with him or not. It sounds amazing. I love that she is a more mature heroine for Jane Austen. Oh gosh, have I been even telling you the Goodreads? I said I was going to, and then I haven't. This has a 4.14 on Goodreads. Beloved has a 3.88. Lucy has a 4.23 on Goodreads. I don't know if you can see back here, I actually bought a box set of Austen's, and I didn't want to get into all of them because I have so many books to tell you about today, but I probably will in my next haul get into some more of those and see what else she has. The next book I've hauled that I have been wanting to read for a little while now because it's been blowing up on BookTube and everyone's talking about it and how wonderful of a story that it is, and that is The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Come to find out, he actually has many published books, and this is the first time I'm hearing of him. This has a 4.53 on Goodreads, you guys. Holy cow. That is almost unheard of. We're following Linus Baker. He leads a very quiet, solitary life. He lives in a tiny house with his old cat and his old records. He's a caseworker at the department in charge of magical youths, and he spends his time overseeing children in government-sanctioned orphanages. This video is going to be such a pain to edit because I'm
sucking so bad.
So he's given an assignment to travel to Marsyas Island, and this is an extremely classified and notable assignment because on this island there are housed 6 very dangerous magical children. So we have a gnome, a sprite, a wyvern, a green blob, a were-Pomeranian.
A were-Pomeranian.
So werewolf-Pomeranian hybrid. A weranium. Oh, and an antichrist. So Linus has to set aside his fears to determine whether or not these 6 children are going to bring the end of days. And so from what I've heard, this is a queer love story as well, and kind of a found family trope. And it's supposed to be just really sweet and really lovely and heartwarming and touching, and I'm very excited to get to this and see if it's worth the hype that it's been getting. Okay, next. Okay, this is another book that I was not necessarily interested in, but that BookTube is freaking out about. So I have decided to go ahead and give it a go and see what it's all about. And that is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennet. There's also, I believe, a sequel to this called The Mothers that has already been released. And this has a 4.26 on Goodreads. Damn, so that's pretty good too. So from what I understand, this follows 2 twin sisters. They are identical twins, and they are black but white passing. So they grew up together in a small southern black town, and at the age of 16, they run away. And their lives become so different and diametrically opposed. Because one sister marries a black man and embraces her culture, and then the other sister passes as white and marries a white man, and I guess her husband doesn't even know that she's a black woman. This follows them and both of their families from the 1950s to the 1990s, and we're exploring the American history of passing, societal norms and pressures of life in America from that time that leads certain people to live their life one way while leading others to live their life a completely different ways. This is considered historical fiction, and it came out in 2020, so last year. Oh! So apparently HBO acquired the rights to release a series adaptation of this. Oh, that's exciting. So that gives me even more want to read it. Oh, so it'll be a limited series with Brit Bennet as the executive producer. Have you guys heard of this? I'm just now reading this. Okay, so, all right, so now I absolutely have to figure out when that is being developed and when that's coming out so I can make sure this is read before then. I just love a good adaptation. And if y'all want me to make a video on that as the information comes out, let me know, because I will do it. All right, so that's The Vanishing Half, and this cover is like so silky smooth and like matte. It's got this awesome matte finish. So I wanted to explore more kind of murder mystery type books as well. This is coming from my love of Ruth Ware and mysteries and thrillers that I have acquired in the last year or so. So I kind of wanted to go back to the roots of that and read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Just found this really cool, this really pretty copy of this. And so I started researching this. On the back it says, "We're not going to leave the island. None of us will ever leave. It's the end, you see. The end of everything." So I never really knew what this was about. This has a 4.26 on Goodreads. And as I was researching this, I found some interesting things about this. So it's a mystery novel written by English writer Agatha Christie. And she said it to be one of her most difficult books to write. It was first published in the UK in 1939. And the original title of this novel was 10 Little N-Words.
What? Is Agatha Christie problematic?
What I thought when I first discovered this last night.
What? I mean, obviously this is. Thank God they changed the title, but what? This almost makes me not want to read it. Why?
So I don't know if this is problematic. I've never heard it to be so, but that's not to say that it is not. They have changed the title, thankfully. So I'm going to go on unless I hear otherwise. That original title was based off of a children's nursery rhyme and minstrel song, which serves as a major element in the plot. The US edition was released in January 1940 with the title, and then there were none. So it was never released in the US with that title. And all successive reprints have had this title as well. Oh, except for Pocketbooks paperbacks published between 1964 and 1986, which appeared under the title 10 Little Indians. What? I'm so confused. Okay, so let's read this children's tale that this is supposed to be loosely based on. Okay. It's a famous nursery rhyme framed and hung in every room of the mansion in this house, in this story. 10 little boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8. 8 little boys traveling in Devon. One said he'd stay there, and then there were 7. 6 little boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5. 5 little boys going in for law. One got chancery, and then there were 4. That one didn't rhyme. 4 little boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. 3 little boys walking in the zoo. A bear hugged one, and then there were 2. 2 little boys sitting in the sun. One got frizzled up, and then there was 1. 1 little boy left all alone. He went out and hanged himself, and then there were none. Oh my God, that's so depressing. Okay, that's real depressing. So, you start with 10 guests on a private island off the coast of Devon. Their host, an eccentric millionaire unknown to all of them, is nowhere to be found. All that these guests have in common is a past that they're unwilling to reveal and a secret that will seal their fate. So this is, I can't remember what it's called. It's like One by Ruth, where it's a closed circuit mystery or something like that, where everyone's stuck in the same place. They're on an island, no one can leave. It's gotta be someone there that did it, and they're getting killed off one by one. By the end of the weekend, they all will be dead, but who has choreographed this dastardly scheme? And who will be left to tell the tale? So that is Agatha. I can't talk. Why? I give up. I give up. That is Agatha Christie's. And then there were none. And I'm about to be none because I'm losing my goddamn mind. Okay. Next. I still have so many books. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Okay. These ones I'll talk about all together because it is a series. As I was saying, I wanted to get into more novellas. This is a sci-fi novella series that I have been hearing a lot about, and so I went ahead and just bought all of them, all 4 of them. And that is Martha Wells. This is not the first book. In fact, this is the first book. Get it together! So the first book is All Systems Red by Mathew Wilson, and then we have Artificial Condition, Rogue Protocol, and Exit Strategy. I think that's the order. Cannot be sure. And I'm not going to look it up. All Systems Red by Mathew Wilson. This is a 4.15 on Goodreads. All of these books, I don't think we've had anything underneath like a 3.8 so far, which is pretty amazing actually. In corporate-dominated spacefaring future, all missions must be approved by the company. Spacefaring. They're in the space. They're not afraid of it. They might be. And these exploratory missions are accompanied by government-sanctioned robots for the safety of the crews. Now, this is following a specific robot who has hacked his government controls and has now begun to have a personality of his own and is in essence a sentient being, but apparently it likes to watch soap operas and is much more interested in watching soap operas than completing his mission that he's been sent out on. And so it's supposed to have a lot of really funny kind of commentary. All it really wants is to be left alone for long enough to figure out who it is. But it says when a neighboring mission goes dark, it's up to these people and their Murderbot, which it names itself, to figure out what is really going on. I'm wondering if this is the Murderbot or if that's the people. Because it certainly looks like a person. Maybe in like outer space gear. I don't know. I have to make myself do things I don't want to do, like talk to humans. That's a little blurb in there. This is another one I'm going to eye read in this whole series if I can. I picked this one up at Target and it was 20% off, so I was pretty happy about that. I believe this one came out last year, and that is JayZ Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I did read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and really enjoyed that one in 2020. I think that was on my top 20 list of 2020. So at first I was not interested in this at all because I know it's about a band and it's kind of, I think it's told in this like documentary type form style, but I am reluctant to read a book about music because I am a musician and I do love music, and it's just a very finicky idea to have to describe music and not hear music. So I'm just a little bit apprehensive about that. I'm sure there's plenty of other aspects that the author can go into, and I do enjoy this author, so I'm looking forward to this actually. This has a 4.2 on Goodreads, which is very good. So I guess it starts being set in the 60s and then it follows them throughout the 70s as well. And we're exploring the mysteries behind the breakup of this huge band. It says everybody knows JayZ Jones and the Six, but nobody understands or nobody knows the secret of why the infamous breakup happened until now. So I guess they're doing like an interview following this lead singer, I guess JayZ Jones, and she's going to tell all her secrets. And if that's the case, it does kind of give me that Evelyn Hugo vibe, because that was kind of the case in that book as well, as far as how it was written. It was kind of being told to another person in an interview type style fashion. And I did like that writing style. So I really think I am going to like this. And oh my gosh, Taylor Jenkins Reid is fucking gorgeous. You guys, can you see this picture? Focus. I kind of have a girl crush on her. Do I have a girl crush on Taylor Jenkins Reid? Very possibly. Very possibly. Anyway, that's that one. Next, I picked up another novella. I didn't even realize I was accumulating all of these novellas. Okay, and this is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I have not read this author before, and I've heard only good things, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. So this is set in Sussex, England. A middle-aged man returns to his small town home to go to a funeral, and in the course of that, he comes across this land where his house used to be on, and there's a pond there, and he has these memories of this girl that he met when he was a kid, who told him that the pond was an ocean. So his unremembered past comes flooding back to him. It's a past that's too strange, too dangerous, too frightening for him to fathom that it happened to anyone, let alone himself as a small child. I guess Letty is this little girl, and it says she's magical, incomprehensible, and wise beyond her years. So I'm guessing this is going to have some kind of magical element to it. Letty had promised to protect him no matter what. It says that this book is told with a rare understanding of what makes us all human. So I guess it's going to be kind of speculative, which I really enjoy. That might be why I picked this up to begin with. I don't remember who recommended this, but I really am discovering that I'm very much into kind of that speculative genre. As delicate as a butterfly's wing and as menacing as a knife in the dark. Ooh, I'm excited for this. And if I like this, maybe I'll check out some more Neil Gaiman. Classified as fantasy. So fantasy. Okay, so my next book is The X-Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And this has a 3.92 on Goodreads. It says, love is on the air. Cute. So this is about two coworkers. You have Shay Goldstein, who is a public radio host, has been a producer on this radio station for a decade, and she's experienced and older. And then you have this guy, Dominic Yoon, and he is kind of fresh out of college with his journalism degree, and he thinks he knows everything, and so he's a little bit younger. They clash. Shay comes up with his idea because the radio station is kind of floundering, and so they have to come up with something fresh, a fresh new idea to get the attention. It's set in Washington and in Seattle. And so she comes up with the idea that we have a show called X-Talk, where two exes are the host, and they talk about relationship advice and such live on air. So her boss tells her, well, we don't have the funds to hire new people, so you two are going to have to do this together and pretend that you're exes. And so apparently the show gains mass popularity and becomes just this huge success. And they have to lie constantly about their relationship, and the lie keeps growing and growing, but also their feelings for each other begin to grow as well. It should be a fun kind of hate to love romantic comedy, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one as well. So that's the X-Talk. Okay, I just have a few more that I'm going to share with you. The next is The Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. This has a 3.75 on Goodreads, and I can't remember where I got this recommendation. Shoot. On the back it says, she breathed in. Sydney was, all at once, an entire forest. She was root and leaf, dirt and sky. Green and spring were blood in her veins, air in her lungs. She was, between one heartbeat and the next, all of magic. Dun, dun, dun. Oh gosh. So it's a fantasy thriller set in New York City. And it says there is a dark secret that is hiding within a city that is diminishing the power of the magicians. It says in New York, magic controls everything. But the power of magic is fading, and nobody knows why except for Sydney, who is our main character, apparently. And she is a new, rare magician with power that has been unmatched for decades. So she may be the only one that can help, but she doesn't want to destroy it. She wants to help it. Oh, geez. Nope. She comes from the House of Shadows, which controls the magic through the sacrifice of magicians. So, oh my god, this sounds really good. An Unkindness of Magicians. Interesting. I don't really know anything else about this, but I saw it on somebody's booktube, so thank you, whoever that was. This came out in 2017. It's classified as urban fantasy or magical fantasy. So we'll see. I've also realized recently that I'm really into time travel and multiverse as far as like my sci-fi tastes go. So I did a thing and I finally signed up for Book of the Month, and they're going to be sponsoring us today. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a Book of the Month sponsor, but y'all, if you want to. Probably need more subscribers to do that. I gotta show your shit to like 170 people though. So I don't know why you're passing up on that Book of the Month, because I'm here waiting for you. Anyway, so I signed up for Book of the Month, and my first choice was this one, The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This has exactly 4 stars on Goodreads, and it was published in August 4th of 2020, so just last year. This is a debut, apparently. It says this is a cross-dimensional adventure, as well as a powerful exploration of identity, privilege, and belonging. So apparently in this world, multiverse travel is finally a thing, but there's a catch to it, is that you can't travel to a world where your counter self is still alive. So this is Kara, and her counterparts seem to be very good at dying. She works for the Eldridge Institute, and apparently, so if you are in that situation where a lot of your other selves have died, you are considered an outlier and therefore in a perfect position to work for this company. So she has this handler, Dell, and I'm thinking there's going to be a queer romance in here between the two of them. And so I guess she like shamelessly flirts with them. They've plucked her out of these wastelands. And so now she has a really nice apartment in this nice city because she has this job collecting off-world data for them. While she's working, she discovers that 8 of her doppelgangers have died in a really mysterious way. And so she starts to examine what's going on and puts herself in a place that is threatening to endanger her own life and plunges her into a new world with old secrets. And what she discovers will connect her past and her futures in ways that she could never have imagined. And this also reveals her own role in a plot that not only could endanger her life and her universe, but the entire multiverse. Damn! This sounds amazing. If this is not like a perfect choice for me, then I don't know what is. I'm so excited for this. And then lastly, I want to share with you guys this beautiful edition that I found of The Princess Bride. Oh my god, it's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. This is another one like The Neverending Story that I fell in love with the movie, and I have yet to read the book. So I am on a quest to catch up on the books. And this thing is hefty. Oh my god, look at these illustrations. Oh my god, how beautiful is that? I'm so excited for this. So we're following Buttercup. She is the Princess Bride. And as far as I know, the book is the same as the story, as the movie. She falls in love with her farmhand. He leaves her because he wants to make something of himself, and he gets taken by the dread pirate Roberts, and she assumes he's dead, so she's mourning, and she's the most, of course, the most beautiful girl in the land, and so Prince Humperdinck wants her to be his bride, and she is just miserable and depressed anyway, so she figures, why not? My true love is dead. There's no point in living. Whatever, I'll go be your bride. Then she finds out Wesley is still alive, and an adventure ensues with pirates and sword fights and revenge. There's romance. Like there's nothing else you need in a story other than this. I mean, it's everything. So I can't wait to read. I really can't wait to read this. Yay! There's a bird outside that's driving me crazy. If you're still here, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry this has been a little bit of a chaotic video. Like, that's just a story of my life, and it's just the way it is. So, you know, I can't do anything about it. You know, this is me. Hi, this is what you get. I do want to know. I want to know. Yeah. Have you read this? Do you want it? Do you like it? I want to know. It's a thing. Do you like it? Do you want it? Anyway, yeah, if you're interested in any of these books, if you've read any of these books, let me know. I want to hear about it. And that's gonna be it for me today. I gotta chill. I need fucking chocolate right now. I need a piece of chocolate immediately. Maybe a whiskey. We'll see. But please don't forget that life is short. So read, Riley, cheers, and I'll see you all next time. Oh, if you like this content, consider liking, consider subscribing. Oh my god, you guys, my husband showed me last night this kid who like buys stuff and gives it away to people on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he just like gives a bunch of people stuff, and he has 50 million subscribers. 50 million subscribers. How?
Are there that many people?
How? I don't know.